Hey everyone, I'm trying my hand at booktube again. If you go on my channel, you'll see that I tried a couple times throughout the years. I've just kind of struggled with the balance of my blog and having booktube because I'm not a very creative person and it takes a lot out of me to even come up with ideas for my blog. So having two outlets for this is just it was kind of hard for me. So I'm gonna try do reading vlogs on booktube. Because it's like less taxing on my creative juices. I hate saying that. Recently a few of my friends have started doing booktube because they're stuck indoors because the UK's in lockdown, and I've been wanting to pick it back up for months now, and this is kind of giving me a little bit of a push, I think. Today's Thursday, and so we're coming up to the weekend. I have to read the sequel to The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman, which is called The Deck of Omens, and I have to read that quite quickly because the release date got moved. Like, the release date was next week, and then it got moved to the end of May. So I moved it from like my immediate need to read kind of TBR. I don't really use TBRs, but yeah, it's a TBR. So I moved it to May in my TBR and decided I'm going to pick up some books that I don't have to read for review purposes, just ones that I wanted to read, because I've had a lot of review copies recently and I haven't been able to read books that I bought off my own back much recently, so I was looking forward to that. And then they announced that it was moved back to its original date, which is next week. So me and a lot of people I know are panicking and will be reading it over the weekend. But first I'm going to read a book that someone bought for me for my birthday in January, who is Kate Loves Colours / Reading Through Infinity, and I wanted to pick up a book that I didn't have to read. It was just a book that was like something I owned. So that is Convenience Store Women by Sayaka Murata. I don't really know much about this. I just know it's a bit like of a weird kind of quirky read about a woman who loves working in a combini. So yeah, it's only like 150 pages, so I think I can blast through this like tonight and tomorrow night. I'm not reading much throughout the week because I'm working full time, and the weekend is now kind of like my reading time at the moment, because I'm kind of finding it hard to go between like working and then blogging and then blah blah blah. All I really want to do is watch TV when I finish working. But I also want to talk about some books I got in the mail today. I got Boy Queen by George Lester, which was sent to me by My Kind of Book. This is about, I think, a teenage drag queen. And yeah, I really love the proof copy of this. I think it's so pretty. Yeah. And then I also got something in the mail that's book related but isn't a book. So I bought Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nyan last year. And this was supposed to be fairly exclusive, but they made a mess up in the factory and this got put on sale. So this cover didn't end up being exclusive. So to rectify this, Hodder and Stoughton made a different cover and sent that out to people, and it's finally here. So this is it here. It's so pretty. It's nice and blue. However, I don't really think it quite goes with the pages, because the pages match the kind of blue on the cover, the original one. But it's still cool to get this, especially because it came for free. And then on the back of it, it comes with this really lovely artwork of the main pick couple. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. But before I start reading, I'm going to finish writing a blog post and post that. Okay, so I'm about 10 pages into Convenience Store Women, and I've already laughed like 2 or 3 times. It's so deadpan and really funny. Like, she's just recounted a time when she was in primary school and she bashed a boy in the head with a spade, because everyone was telling the boys to stop fighting, so that's what she thought she would do, was bash them in with a spade. And then she couldn't understand why she got in trouble for it. And then there's another point, like, these aren't really spoilers because it's like the first 10 pages. There's another point where she's like, her teacher was crying. So because she saw on the TV someone pulled someone's like underwear down on the TV to get them to stop crying, she did that to her teacher. I can't wait to read more. This is so funny. So I've read about 35 pages of Convenience Store Women and now I'm like, I want to go to bed. So I'm in bed. So I'm going to try and read my ebook now because I like to like read ebooks in bed and like regular books not in bed. So yeah. The ebook I'm reading is The Worst Better Man by Mia Sosa, which is about a woman who was supposed to get married a few years ago and then her groom... Oh, I literally have read part of it and I can't remember. But it kind of like... Her groom doesn't turn up or something like that. And then a few years in the future, she's trying for a job because she's now a wedding planner. And two of the guys that work at the job are her ex-fiance and his brother. So I think she eventually will end up with the brother. I think that's who like the main pairing on the like blurb is. So yeah, it's quite fun. I think I'm about 15% into it. It's been a while since I read it because I've been going straight to sleep most nights at the moment because I'm just like, you know that lockdown vibe where you're just like out of it even though you're not really doing anything? That's me right now. So yeah, I got into a pure Chinese web novel thing the other day, so I read about 40 pages of TGCF. I can't remember what that is and like the opinion for that, but it's Heaven Official's Blessing, which is from the same writer who wrote Modazushi. So I was reading that instead of The Worst Best Man, but I'm gonna try to read The Worst Best Man tonight. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably spend about an hour on Twitter and then suddenly it's 1 a.m. and I need to go to sleep. So yeah, see you in the second when it's tomorrow. So it's now 2 days later. I didn't vlog yesterday because I didn't really read much until like 11 p.m. and the lighting wasn't great, so I was like, nah, I'll just leave it and catch up on Saturday. So I finished Convenience Store Women. Really interesting and bizarre book. I don't really know what my thoughts are on it because it was just such a different reading experience for me. But it's kind of, as someone who's read a little bit of Japanese literature, it had like that vibe. Like there's a certain vibe that Japanese literature has, and it had that kind of thing going for it. But yeah, it was really interesting. I quite liked the ending, and I quite liked some of the things that are kind of the topics that are broached in it. It's only 150 pages, but it talks a lot about like what is expected of women in the society of Japan. So like you have to have a baby, you have to get married, all this kind of stuff. You have to have a good job. You can't just be a convenience store woman all your life. There has to be more to your life than that. When Kiko is quite happy being a convenience store woman and that's like the life she enjoys. And when she tries to go off from that track, it's not what she expects. So yeah, it was quite interesting, and I think it's quite like applicable to a lot of societies where there's so many expectations on women for what they should be doing to have a successful life. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it. So I don't really do star ratings on my blog because I feel like that deters away from the review and people can have a false expectation of what they're reading at times. But I do leave ratings on Goodreads more for my own personal like keeping track of things, and also like for example, like if I read a book by a person of colour, I like to have a Goodreads rating. If it's a good, like if I really enjoyed it, I make sure I put that on there because it can help their sales. Anyway, that was my blather about ratings. Anyway, so I did give this 4 stars. I don't really know if it's a 4 stars, but it's not quite 3 stars. So 3.5 to 4, yeah. I quite enjoyed this one. If you like quirky books that leave you like confused, but then also you recognize the message that it's leaving, then you'd probably enjoy this. It's quite funny as well, but there are some content warnings for violence and sexism. Basically, I think there's more than that. If I do review, I will leave that in the description below. I know my reviews always have content warnings in them. Stan Dreamcatcher. So next I'm going to be reading Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. I read The Devouring Grey last year, really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to read this one. This is one of my most anticipated books of this quarter. It's got kind of supernatural, witchy kind of stuff going on in it. This copy was sent to me by the publisher, which is Titan Books, so it's very nice of them to send me that. What I really like though is they did this last year with The Devouring Grey as well, but at certain points of the book they have like tarot cards in reference to things that are happening in the book, so I quite like that. It's quite like a fun Easter egg in the books. It's really nice weather here today, so I'm going to sit out in my garden and read this, and I'll probably get some footage of that. I also really need to clean my kitchen and tidy up my house a bit, because I'm a messy person, so at times like this when things are quite like stressful and when I get into like an anxious mindset, I'm not very good at like keeping things tidy, so I need to do that today, but I don't really want to because it's such nice weather. So I've read about 60 pages of the Deck of Omens and I'm enjoying it, but I feel like I could do with like a wee plot summary at the front of the book, because I have no recollection of what happened in the first book, and there's a bit of like catching up at the beginning, you know, like trying to remind you what happened whilst also putting in the plot so it doesn't feel like it's like repeating itself. But I feel like it could either do with a little bit more of that, or with a summary at the beginning of the first book, because I have no recollection of what happened and I had to go look up who's who. I don't really have time to be rereading the first one, because like, if you remember what I said about how it was pushed back and then moved up, so I don't have any space in my like TBR for it, because this book comes out in a few days. So I'm just trying to go on the vague memories I have of it, and it's a bit like, I've read 60 pages and I kind of feel like nothing's happened yet. So I hope something happens in the next 40, otherwise that's 100 pages with nothing happening. Everyone's just kind of talking to each other and having like, basically it's like, they're talking to each other but it's like the verbal version of glaring at each other basically, and that's all it's really been. Oh, and some guys appeared who wasn't in the first one and is a relation of someone. That's about it. So, woo! I hope something else happens soon. about 100 pages of the Deck of Omens, and I'm a little bit disappointed. I feel like not much has happened, although I feel like I remember the first book was quite slow until like the last quarter. So I'm gonna continue on with it. Like, I still like enjoy the writing style and stuff, but it's taken me a while to get through it. Like, that's 2 days now and I'm only at 100 pages. I think there's like 3 bi characters in this book and not a single pansexual character, which I find really strange because, like, surely one of those multi-gender attracted people is going to be pansexual as opposed to bisexual. But oh well. So I'm going to try and read more of this tonight and hopefully I can power through some of it. I want to get this finished quite soon so I can do my review, so it's like on time for the release. Probably be a few days late because I think it's being released on Tuesday.
Say hello to my neighbour's cat, Trevor. He just comes and chills in my house and my garden some nights. Like just now, he just walked in my door. Classic Trevor. He also likes to have fights with other cats. See, there he goes into my house. You alright there, Trevor? I have to go get him because I don't trust him.
Hey everyone, so it's now Wednesday. I did a little bit of reading yesterday. I think I got about 50 pages done. I put some makeup on today because I just kind of felt like it. I think it's been about 6 weeks since I put any makeup on, and this is just like a 15-minute kind of thing, but it made me feel a little bit better. I'm kind of staring right into the sun, so sorry if I'm glaring. I'm gonna try and get the Deck of Omens finished by tomorrow. I've got under 200 pages to go. I think I can do it. Just want to get my review out this week, so, and I want to get this vlog done because I want to do like a week basically, and tomorrow would make it a week, so yeah. Okay, so I'm like 300 pages in and there's been a big reveal, and I just literally said out loud, what the fuck, because I'm like shook. I'm shook. I sound like an idiot saying that, but like, I'm actually so shocked. I literally was like, what the fuck? And I don't want to like, I don't know if I want to spoil it. I don't know if like I want to do spoiler reading vlogs or not at this point, but I'm just like, I'm actually in so much shock. Like, what the hell? As soon as this scene began unfolding, I was like, oh, something's gonna happen here. This guy is gonna be dodgy. And I was right, but he's more dodgy than I expected. Woohoo! Can't wait to read more and see what's gonna happen with this dodgy guy. So I've just finished the Deck of Omens. It's Wednesday night, so I powered through like 200 pages there for like 3 hours basically, because in between going on Twitter, because I was just like, I just want to get through it and get it done, and I could tell that like things were beginning to like pick up, so I wanted to power through it, and I really enjoyed the last like half. The first half was good, but I felt like the pacing was a bit slow, but then things really started kicking up and like going somewhere in the second half, and yeah, so I think when I put it on Goodreads I'll give it about 4 stars, mainly because of that first half. I felt like more could have happened there. So the first book's about like the 4 kind of, the main kind of group, which is Justin, Harper, Isaac and Violet, and it's all mostly about Violet and Harper because they're the ones, like, Harper's dealing with some stuff and Violet's just comes to town and she's just finding out what's going on basically. But the second book focuses mostly on Isaac and May, who is Justin's sister, and I really loved the focus on the trauma that I really loved the focus on trauma that Isaac's going through. I thought that was like really well done, and the grief that he felt through what happened to his family was really good. And I liked what May was going through as well, with the guilt of everything. I'm trying to explain it without giving too many big spoilers, but yeah. So I really liked the characterization of that. I feel like Christine Lynn Herman does really well in her characterization. That's kind of what I think is her strong point, is her characters and like the found family kind of aspect that it had in this duology. It was a nice conclusion as well, like everything kind of tied up. Of course it's kind of like this story is tied up in the sense of like there's an ending, but it's also kind of slightly open-ended in a way, not for these characters or in this group of people and this time period, but at some point there could be room for other stories in it because of the way it ends. But it's not like actually open-ended, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense because I don't ever make sense. So yeah, that's the end of my reading vlog. Well, this one. I'm going to do another one after this, but I think I'm going to take a break for a couple days to read a book that I don't think is really going to have much of a reaction from me, because it's just like a wee contemporary romance kind of thing, and it's like the second book in a series, and I've read the first book and like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a big like one that gives me an expression, if you know what I mean. So I'll read that. But I also think it's a good thing to like not always be vlogging my reading, basically. It'll make me feel less constricted, if that's the right kind of word. But yeah, thank you very much for watching my reading vlog. Hopefully I can keep this up and I'll continue to do this because I've actually had a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, make sure you like the video and subscribe to me if you enjoyed this video, and if you want, leave a comment, it'd be very much appreciated. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, etc. Bye!